and welcome back to yet another episode of the NOIC Godcast. We have been looking and diving into identifying the invisible. I don't say it fun like Josh just because it doesn't feel right to me. So,
well, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I don't think he even knows what he's saying. All right. So I honestly think this is a life-changing concept. Once you really grasp what we're trying to show you and what there is, it just changes. It kind of changes.
It's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. Sorry. So a good example of what this looks like in a real life situation is Noah, right?
Yep.
So God tells Noah to build an ark because there's a flood coming. The problem was that they had never seen a flood before. So does Noah do what he knows and what he can see, which is that there's never been a flood.
Yeah.
Rain, if any rain, there's not been that much rain.
Yeah.
So why build an ark?
Yeah.
Or trust God who already is in the flood. Or can see the flood.
Yeah.
Right. So what does Noah do? It's a spoiler alert, we kind of know this. But Hebrews 11:7 says, by faith Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. So being warned of God, things not seen as yet.
Yeah.
So how could God warn Noah of things not seen yet if God didn't see them?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So that implies that God could see it.
Yes.
Noah could not, right?
You're not just going to make up something and tell you, watch out for this, and then it never actually comes. Like,
right.
Like,
or just like, no, there might be rain.
like, I don't know where rain is.
Right. So God seen it, but Noah couldn't.
Yeah.
And so we say God is everywhere and he knows it all. But I don't feel like we take that literally. Like, that's such a cliche, I feel like, that...
Like, he sees it all.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He knows everything. But, like, no, really.
Yeah.
Like, he really is everywhere, knows all, and sees everything.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Well, I think if we actually believed that, our lives would be totally different.
Oh, yeah.
And between even just, like, our faith would be so much stronger. Because when he says something to us, we wouldn't be like, is it though?
Right.
But also in just our normal everyday lives, as far as, like, if we knew that he's seen it all, then we probably wouldn't do some of the things that we do in our lives.
Right. So Noah couldn't see the flood, and everyone around him thought he was crazy for putting so much work and effort into this thing.
Yeah.
Like, why are you spending a good chunk of your life? This is really goofy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you even talking about?
Like, imagine, I'm going to come up with a really weird word because, like, they didn't know what a flood was.
Right.
Like, they had never seen that.
Right.
So we're talking about, like, we've seen floods. So, like, we're like, well, duh, he's building it for the flood.
Right.
But, like, think about, like, a Flurgenberg. A Flurgenberg's coming. It's coming. He tells you a Flurgenberg is coming, and for you to build a tractor.
Yeah.
And, like, you're like, I gotta build this tractor. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, we've seen a tractor before.
Right.
Like, why are you building a tractor? Because of the Flurgenbergs.
No one knows what that is.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the word flood and what it was didn't make any sense to them. It didn't. No recollection.
Right. And so, but God could see it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he told Noah, and Noah believed him. So, like, I don't know. I just think of my life. God tells me something, and I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that turns out, and I'm going to prepare just in case.
Yeah.
Things don't go what you said. You know what I mean? Like, I think we are always, like, a just in case kind of a thing, and we prepare
Noah didn't
for
do
ourselves.
just in case.
No.
Like, he spent his entire life.
Right.
Like, since he knew since God gave the information, it was every day.
Yeah,
this wasn't like a hobby thing that he tried.
Right. It said he moved with fear. Like, he believed God.
Yeah.
And he knew that it was life or death. You know what I mean? We do this or we all die, right? So I just kind of gave my next line away. But what would have happened if Noah wouldn't have done or wouldn't have believed what he couldn't see?
Yeah.
We would all be dead.
Yes.
Right?
We'd all be dead.
Noah, through all that seemed logical and had faith, right? It's easy being on this side of the story. We all know. You should build an ark. Here's a flood coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, seeing that now.
That's logical.
Easy. Right. But how many times in our life does God tell us to go do something that makes no sense at all? And we just do it. Like, sadly, I don't know if I can think of one time that he said, do this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there's been very few times in my life, and it's never been to that extreme.
Right.
Like, it's been like,
I'm literally
sitting in line at McDonald's, and they're like, pay for the person behind you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why pay for the person behind
Right.
me? I don't like know them.
Right.
What if they got like 12 McDonald's meals? But like, that's the thing is like, I've done that, but like nothing to that caliber.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like, well, like in that scenario, like, what do you have to lose? A little bit of money.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? No, like
$10,
this,
that.
right. But like this was like, I mean, you're spending a big chunk of your life and
your
working
reputation.
hard. Yeah. So Noah could have rationalized with God. I'm old. We've never seen a flood before.
Yep.
Everyone's making fun of me. When I see rain clouds, then I'll hurry up and start build one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This sounds all too familiar to me, right? We want a sign, a signy sign.
Yeah, sign.
We want to be really, really sure. We want the fleece to be wet or the ground around it wet, right? Yeah. When God, who is here and now, he sees all of it. And he asks me to do something according to what he sees.
Yep.
I, who only can see the here and now, which is such a small portion, starts making excuses. I feel like I can't put into words what that like actually means, but how goofy that sounds. Like God literally sees all of it. And he's like, okay, I can see this coming and what's happening. I need you to do this. And I'm like, I see like this. And I'm like,
but why?
No.
You me sick.
I'd rather not, you know? And then, so for Noah, had he done that, had he been like, well, we'll see, it would have been the end.
Yes.
You know, it would have been done. It would have been done. We would all
because, well, think about that. Think about being in a place where God would give you that kind of responsibility.
Right.
Like, could you imagine? Because, like, this isn't a small thing. And it's not even like, we'll kill your nation.
Right.
We'll kill your family. We'll kill... It is humankind in itself. And he's like, Noah... He didn't tell nobody else.
Right.
He's like, Noah, I really need you to build an ark.
Yeah. And there's a reason that God chose Noah.
Exactly.
Right? And he knew. And so I just think, and this is kind of a short one, obviously we're already ending, but I just thought it left room for maybe conversation. But what might happen, like what are the consequences if we don't do what he asks us?
Yeah.
You know, I think of so often God, you know, we kind of talked one of our first ones about helping other people.
Yes.
Like serving other people and stuff. But even like if God puts on your heart to like, hey, go tell that person you're praying for them.
Yeah.
Or it's someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Or like all the uncomfortable things that God asks us to do. And we're like, what are the consequences? God sees that person's facing.
Yep.
And maybe they really need you to pray for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I just feel like there's so much there to think of. God is seeing all of it. And he's wanting to include you in on that, right? And he's asking you to do what he can't see or what we can't see.
Yeah.
And we were like, no.
Yeah.
And what might the consequences to that?
And I think that's like a two-part answer there for like what would happen if we don't, like what are the things that we lack when we don't do this. And one, it is the other end. It's the who is supposed to get that gift of us being nice to them or giving something or, you know, providing a way for them to be able to have something. There's that end. But then on your own end, God is not going to give you more than what you are willing to take.
Right.
So if I say, no, I'm not giving my money to the person behind me at McDonald's, he would never ask me for an ark.
Right. Exactly.
And so us as Christians, if we want to get closer to him, it's filling those little calls. And obviously in this story, like we get the highlight of, it pretty much starts out and it's just like, Noah is building an ark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like he had a life before that.
Right.
So I would have to imagine in that life before the ark, he was faithful to God in the little things.
Right.
And then he was up to that point where he was able, and not for his own glory, but for God's glory, was able to save mankind. You know what I mean? He didn't have to wipe out the entire earth because of Noah and what he did. And that's, again, not something in Noah. That's something that God gave him and went through Noah. Yeah. But we miss out on our blessing of being able to do more for him when we kind of like, no, I don't want to do that in the small things because he's not going to give you big things unless you fulfill the small things.
And so there's a whole realm of things that we don't see that God is moving. Yeah. And, you know, we've been learning through Sunday school and stuff that, you know, we are God's here and now, his physical body. And so he wants us to help him. Yeah. But if he doesn't, if he asks you and you don't, he's going to move on.
Oh yeah. He'll do something for somebody else.
Right.
He'll move on to that. That's the other thing that I was going to say was it will go to someone else. Because God's work is never undone. Right. It will be done. But are you going to allow him to do it through you? Or are you going to pass it off and be like, I don't really want to do that and somebody else gets to do it?
Yeah. Because then he's gonna stop asking.
Yeah, he will. He'll be like, and that's not even to say you're unsaved.
No.
Not even saying this has nothing to do with the salvation of your soul, because Jesus bought and paid for your sins.
It's not about works.
It's not about works.
Mm-hmm.
This is about how you're able to survive and thrive in this world. And if you will have your home in heaven, but while you're here, you're going to be absolutely miserable doing nothing.
Right. So yeah, I think that I guess just leave you with the thought of next time God's asking you to do something that seems maybe goofy or seems a little
might make you look dumb.
Yeah, just think about what you can't see, because he sees the whole thing, right?
Yep.
And so just keep that in mind. So today's considerable quote comes from one of my favorite authors, Nancy Leigh DeMoss, and it says, "God's will is what we would choose if we knew what God knows." And my featured song is Confidence by Sanctus Real, which doesn't talk about Noah, actually, apparently, but it's
She
fine.
thought it said, she was singing it, and you're like, faith like Noah.
Yeah.
And she thought there's Noah somewhere.
Yeah, I could have sworn there was a Noah in that song, but there is not, but it's still a good song. So go listen to it. Now you guys are all like, I thought I knew that song, but I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know.
All right, well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to one more episode. Hopefully
Episode of this hot mess.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next week. Bye.
Bye.